So basically, what we are going to cover is, what we are going to discuss today is a single sign-on integration. And in this single sign-on integration, we will see the IDP initiated single sign-on integration and the service provider initiated single sign-on integration. We will also see that how we can debug the issues using the SAML tracer we will be using, in which we will
Mhm.
be going through the entire what is important to trace when there's some issue in the single sign-on integration. Also, we will see the SAML validator, which is the uh, provided by the Salesforce. So I have the two orgs. One is, if you see here, that the Gmail.com IPO is the domain. Okay. Another org I have is gmail.com, sorry, gmail.com SPO. So this org will be my identity provider. Now, what is the identity provider is, uh, this when I will be logging into the identity provider org, then this identity provider org will be able to give the identity to the service provider that, hey, I am the identity provider, you know me, and then and the service provider will automatically may log in with few the checks, like the federation ID or the other configurations that I will be showing to you. But the identity provider is something like, when someone comes at our home. So what we do is, we the first check that whether we know the people or not, and then only we allow the person to enter our home. Correct. So identity provider is also the same, the kind of the or kind of the application or kind of the person. Now, the principle which we are going to follow today will be same for every application. If you want to, the login your Salesforce with any other application, the principle will be the same to configure. There is no need, or no other step will be included, be it by ADFS or any other application. Your single sign-on integration process will be remain same for every may the every process, every other application SSO. Okay, so you have to consider this particular org, the IPO org, as a any other application. Okay, maybe you can take it as a ADFS. And you as a Salesforce developer will always work with SPO, that is the service provider org. So your the responsibility will be to work on your service provider side, because you are a Salesforce developer. You have to take care of your Salesforce only. Okay, so whatever the configurations, whatever the steps you will follow in your service provider, or I am going to the follow in the service provider or today, same you have to do for any the other application, any other the SSO with any other application. Okay, so because I have to they make this single sign-on integration workable within with an application. So I am taking this I gmail.com IPO as a another application, through which whenever I will be logging into this org, my service provider org, the SPO org, will automatically log in. Okay, so what I will be doing is, I mean, this thing when I, whatever the job I will be doing into the this particular or the anti provider, this your customer will be doing at his hand as his end. Okay, so in the the IPO or what I'm going to do is, first of all I am going into the setup and I'm going to provide the identity provider. Now, one thing the very important is that whenever you are working in a the single sign-on integration or then you have to make sure that yours the Salesforce or should have the domain registered. Okay, my that you can do through my domain. So after your domain will be registered, then only you will be able to work in a single sign-on integration. So first you have to do what in the identity provider org, you have to click and go into the setup and type identity provider. Now identity provider, let it load. So after this, you have to enable identity provider. I am making my identity provider org ready to be the identity provider now. Nothing I have done so far in related to the SSO, neither in the uh, identity provider or service provider. Now I'm clicking on this at enable identity provider. Okay, now here you have to the select the certificate. Okay, so I am selecting this certificate. You can create your new certificate, but there is no name. You can use the the certificate provided by the Salesforce, and you can click on save. Okay, so now you have to take care of this thing as well, that when it is showing you the key size 2048, it is for 1 year. When it will be showing you the key size with 0 something, then it will be of 2 years. After this, once you will be completed this step, you have to download this metadata. Now what is this? This is something which you will be asking your customer to provide the metadata. If the customer is using ADFS or Okta or anything, you will be asking the same metadata from them. Okay, because as I told you that this will be, you will be treating as a third party application, that the customer application, and then you want to integrate this thing with your Salesforce. Okay, so Now I will be what I will be doing is I will be going into my service provider org, and the service provider org, what I will be doing is I will be going to setup, and then I will be typing single sign on. After the clicking on the single sign on, I will be making it first SAML enabled. So I will be clicking on edit, make it check, and save. Now the other option which you were able to see is the the like the making main federation ID case insensitive. So the federation ID is something like your we have the roll numbers. I mean the unique by which the user will be identified in the single sign-on integration. So generally, we do not check this particular checkbox because if somebody have the the single, I mean the federation ID of a user, so if it is a better to to for a safety purpose, better to keep it as a case sensitive. Okay. Now what we will be doing is now we have now our SAML is enabled. Now we will be we're going to the upload. I mean, we have the three options here: new, new from metadata file, and new from metadata URL. So the best approach which I prefer is new from metadata file. Okay, and I have the option to browse and upload that particular the file which I got from the customer, metadata file from the customer. Okay, so right now because I am the I'm demoing you, so I'm the customer of myself, and the the I'm a Salesforce developer. So I have downloaded it just a minute ago. I downloaded the metadata file from the IP org. So that means the customer has provided me the metadata file. Now I'm using the same metadata file in my Salesforce org. So I will be clicking here. Mm,
Prashant, I lost your screen.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Just a minute. Just a minute. Can you see now?
Yes, yes, I can see it. Thank
Okay. So I have uploaded, I have browsed, and I have uploaded the same, the SAML file. Okay. Now I will be just clicking on the create. See every detail, the I have here in this particular single sign-on integration automatically. Okay. Now what the I need to do? I can give the name of the single sign-on integration of my choice. This is what I can do. Okay. The issuer will be the URL of the identity provider org. If you can see that this is the issuer, this one, gmail.com IPO. If I go into this org, then Gmail, check the URL, gmail.com IPO. Okay. So this is the issuer, and the identity ID will be the URL of our Salesforce service provider. So gmail.com SPO. This same is the URL here. Okay. Now everything, the when the, say- when the once we have uploaded the metadata, everything has been done uh, automatically. So what we have to, what we have to do, we have to make sure that we are going to check this particular option, that assertion contains the federation id for the sorry from the user object. Okay. And this is good. Okay. Hmm. Nothing much to do, and click on save. Now, as you have, the save, and in your single sign-on integration, you have the following details, which you are getting automatically. That is the self-sign in certificate you are getting, federation ID, subject, the identity provider login URL, and few other details. Now, after this, this thing you will be doing at your end. I mean, in your Salesforce. Now, I'm going back to the IP org, and here after creating the all these things, I have to create one connected app. Now, what the because after all, the client is main, or any developer of the third party application need to know what configuration you have done. So what you will be doing is, you will be in your service providers, or you will be download this metadata and will send it to your customer or to a third party a application. I mean the application, be it like the ADFS of the developer, so that they can configure their configuration at their end. Now I'm creating the one app here. So you can they give the name of this app SSO app, the API, the email. Now, if you want to, the give any logo, or I'm then you can the give. You have to simply choose the sample from here. Okay. And for example, if I go with the size for this one, platform one, but this is not the required. So in the logo image URL, I'm copying the logo URL and I'm providing this one. In the icon URL, I will be copying this and be pasting here. Okay. And close and this. If you want to to provide some description, you can provide a description. Okay. Then coming here in the web app setting, you have to provide it, you have to check this thing. enable SAML. Now, what I the purpose of sending the your Salesforce metadata to the customer is that they will be they doing the configuration, and there they need the identity URL and the ACS URL. Now, what is the identity URL? Identity URL is, you can check from here, this is the identity URL which you have in your service provider or in single sign-on setting. So you can copy and you can paste it here. In the ACS URL, ACS URL is also the identity URL, but better to copy the login URL. Now some org may get the after in this login URL, some org may get some the ID as well after .com, but that is also fine. Okay, this is as I told you that the same identity URL is the same as the login URL, but because some org have the some ID as a suffix after .com, so that is better to copy from the login URL. Okay, subject type. What I mean, what will be the type we will be the matching that, okay, this is the authorized user who is permitted to land into our org as soon as he is able to log in into the identity provider org. He should be able to land or log in without the providing the user ID password again of the service provider. So we will use federation ID. Okay, now what next? We have the providing the all the details here. Okay, so the certificate, this is the certificate, the IDP certificate. So as you can see in the in the the certificate, identity provider certificate, this is the self-signed certificate. Okay, so we are also going to select here the self-signed certificate. Okay, and nothing much, and simply save. Okay, now click on manage, and give the profiles. The I mean the all the users who actually they should have the access of this particular connected app. So I'm giving the permission to the profiles, so that the all the users who have the who should have the access to this particular application. So for me, I'm the system administrator and I do not need anyone else, so I'm giving this. Okay, so this is the our job is almost done. Now we have one more thing to do, that is to provide the federation ID to a user, and the federation ID should be same in the identity provider and the service provider. So whatever the whenever you will be working with the customer, then whatever the federation ID they will be giving to their user, always they give the same in your Salesforce. So I am going into user here, and in the users, and to this particular the user, I'm going to give the federation ID. Now the federation ID, we have a field, and it can take any data in the form of the the text, or better I should say in a form of string. Okay, so let's say the federation ID I am giving as the uh, oh, sorry, I will copy this because there should not be any difference, and I will save. Now same thing I have to do in my service provider org. I will be going into user, then in this particular user. Now you might be having a question that the here the name of the user is the service provider, there it was the identity provider. So that is the reason the usernames might be different. So we are going to identify through the federation ID. This is same. Okay, now this is all done, and let me the log out from here, and then the I now I have the only the identity provider. Or what I will be going to do is in my connected app, let it load. Okay, so in my connected app, here is this URL, identity a IDP initiated login URL. So I will be clicking on this, and let's see, they keep an eye on a URL. Right now it's a gmail.com IPO. So it should be changing to SPO now, and see gmail.com SPO, correct? So we have, from the identity provider org, we have landed into the service provider. So this is the this is the your ID identity provider initiated single sign-on integration. Okay, but let us do the one thing. Let us the check the important thing, that is the the how, if because this is the simple configuration, but it becomes the important when you have to uh, the work on an issue. You have to identify that what was the the problem, that your single sign-on integration was not working properly. So in this case, what I may do, I have a the browser extension, that is the SAML Tracer, and I will be using this SAML Tracer to identify the cause. So there are the almost the 7 things which I always the check when I am working on the SSO. So let me refresh this. Right now the my domain is the same, gmail.com IPO, and what I will be doing, I have this extension here. SAML Tracer. So full form of the SAML is a security assertion markup language. So always do one thing whenever you are starting with the process, make it clear. Okay. So let me start once again. By clicking on the logout. So this way it will be good to show. So you are able to see that the as I'm doing something on my browser, the SAML is capturing something. Now what I will be doing, I will be the keep clearing this, and I will go to the app, connected app. So this is my SSO app. I will be going. Okay, click on manage. Okay, so let me quickly clear this so that we can get our right. The whatever the desired result we want to the track or you debug, we can get it. So now I am going to click on this particular URL, the same URL in the connected app. That is the IDP initiated login URL. Okay. Uh, Let me clear again. Okay. Now I'm clicking on this URL and see now URL is, we are landing into the service provider org. As we have clicked on it, we are landing into the service provider org, and it is also, the capturing the information. Okay. So let me pause. I have paused because, I have landed from the it is identity provider org into the service provider org. I have landed. So, my purpose is solved. Now, I have so many things, but I will be simply going on to the SAML, and I will be clicking on this. As I clicked on the SAML, I got some response, but I will be going to see in the SAML. Okay. So the first thing which the always I have to notice is to the SAML response. This thing here, the destination. Sorry, destination is the service provider URL. Remember, we may have the SPO for the service provider, IPO for the identity provider. So this is the first thing which I always they take care of, that I mean the whether I'm landing when I'm clicking on the connected app, then when I'm trying to work on the single sign-on, my destination should be the correct one. So this is the going main in a right direction. Okay. Then I go to the SAML issuer. Who is the I mean, who initiated this the single sign-on? So issuer is the identity provider org. So it is here gmail.com IPO. Okay. So my destination, the where I should land is correct. My issuer is correct. Then in the SAML, I have the one more. I check about the status. It should be success. If I am going, I am going to the right direction. So yeah, here. So here I have the status. So because my single sign-on is working in a correct format, so I am getting the status as success. Okay. Then I have the subject, and in subject I have many things to check, even your federal ID and everything. This one, subject, and the subject I have the this thing to check the name ID, and if you remember, we have given this particular the federation ID to the user. So check SSO Prashant is the federation ID in my SSO. So yes, the correct user is the trying to log in, and it is the going into the service provider org. Now after this, I have the conditions. This one. So not before and not on or after. Okay. So this particular date and time is correct. Now I have this particular the audience, that is also is correct. Now what I have to check is the authentic authent context. So here, if you will see, then this is the user ID. Okay. And here I have the user ID of identity provider. This is the email of the identity provider. So you got the federation ID, you got the username, the email. So everything is correct as per our requirement. So this is the identity provider initiated single sign-on integration. Now the we have the another option, that is the provider initiated single sign-on integration. So let us see that as well. But if I let me show you something as well, that if I the click on the logout, then what will happen? Push it. It was pause. Let me try it again. Uh, Now, the if I'm trying to do again, but before that, let me show you something else. Like, this is the app. So if I try to go into the app launcher, and if I try to search it with SSO, I'm not getting this. And when each time when I go into the I have to go into setup, and then the manage app. So better, I should get this option here. So for this, what I will be doing is I will be clicking edit, and in the start URL, whatever the ACS URL I have, I will be providing. And let's see if I get the application in the app launcher. See, now I'm getting the option. Okay, it has thrown me out. Oh, we are into the SPO. Okay. We are into the SPO. The URL was of the service provider. So let us search now our application SSO app. So we are going into the this particular, the domain, but is not logging. So we will see this why it is happening. Uh, but first, let us see the issue with when what we actually get when we log out. Okay, so I am clicking on this, and with this, I will be, the landing into service provider org. This we have already seen that the what happened exactly when we the land into the service provider org. Okay, but now we want to see the what is going to the we will get when we log out. Okay, so when we log out, so we are logging out from the service provider org. Log out is coming. Yes, so again we have the, so it is showing something, when we try to do the logout, then it was the on the service provider, then we are coming back to our the identity provider, because this is the IPO. So but let's see. So we got the SAML logout request, and the here now the destination is the identity provider org. that is gmail.com IPO, and the issuer is the service provider, SPO, gmail.com SPO. Okay, and the name in the the SAML name, we have the federation ID, that who logged out is the federation ID of the user, the same which we have the given check SSO Prashant. Okay, so now the one more thing we have left is of the a provider initiated SSO. So for this, what we'll be doing, let me come out here. Okay, now I will be clicking on login, and I will be doing a small thing, because right now what you are seeing, I have the only option of, if I the okay, let me try and show you. Let us check as well that whether if it is already enabled. So I am, just hitting the service provider Salesforce or the domain URL. No. So basically, I should get the one option here that, like, this is the one option where I will be giving my credentials, username, and the password. I should also get one more option of the here where I the get I should get the option of the identity provider org to log in into the identity provider org. So that I need to do because it is not enabled. So that thing I have to do. So for this, what I will be doing is I will be going into my domain, and here in the authentication configuration, I will click on edit. Then you are able to see, because we have the one single sign-on integration the done for the another, or that will be the identity provider for us. So I have to select this thing and save. Okay. Now if I the go, I will try again. I'm hitting the URL, the domain URL, then I will get the option. See, now I have the two options. One is to give the username and the password for the service provider, and another option I have is of the the IPO. If I click on this, then the I will be able to log in into the IPO. But again, what will happen is that when I will be the clicking on this, I will be going into the identity provider, and then I will be sending back to the service provider. But because the I have not the enabled my SAML tracer for the incognito, so I have to do the same thing in the browser. So I'm going to log out from here, and I will be starting this process again. SAML Tracer, clear, and now I will be clicking on this. So we will be getting the two SAML response, because the when we clicked on the IPO, that is the identity provider org, then okay, pause. Yeah, because we are again into the service provider. So what I'm trying to say is that the because we have the first try to uh, get into the identity provider, and then again we are landing into the service provider. So that's the reason we will get the two SAML here. One is the gmail.com IPO. That means when I clicked on that particular the button, I was into the identity provider org, and after that the again I landed into the service provider. So here my domain is gmail.com SPO. So let me the click on this thing and see that what we are getting in the SAML. So here when I the say the I mean the uh, in the service provider initiated the SAML. So we have to they check the SAML auth request, where first I will be the may checking that this particular thing, the assistant consumer the consumer service URL, the which URL you have used, and so this is my domain of the service provider org, and into the destination my URL of the identity provider. Okay, and the issuer is, if I check the issuer, then I have the service provider URL. Okay. Now on clicking on the second one, the second one SAML, I get the whole thing, which because the when we the this is something from the IP from the identity provider to the service provider. So this will be the they contain the whole same thing which we have checked for the identity initiated SAML, I mean the identity initiated single sign-on integration. Now, one more facility we have, that is, the if you are not able to understand that whether the this particular SAML is correct or not, then Salesforce has provided this facility to understand in an easy way. So what we have to do is, let us the log out from here. Let's say you have the and let me log in into the service provider in the different browser. Let's say the you are not able to understand what is the SAML responses, and how it is the working. So the might you have the confusion. So in that case, what you will do, you have the SAML validator in your org. So you will be logging into your service provider org, and Okay. So in the service provider org, what you will do, you have the again go to the this in the setup and type single sign-on. Then it is loading. Then we have here the SAML assertion validator. So we will be clicking here, and now this is the body where we will be pasting our SAML, and we will check whether it is just fine or not. So what we will do, I am now back into the identity provider org, because I will be initiating the SAML. I will be initiating the single sign-on, and in the when I will be initiating, then only I will be getting my SAML. So I'm back into this, then the setup app, and I will be clicking on the manage, and let me the make my SAML tracer ready. So this is the all we are doing we are seeing the different I mean different ways to debugging the SSO issues. So I'm clicking on this URL again, and let us the right now the SAML tracer is blank. Okay, so it is blank now. Now I'm clicking on this, and my SSO process started. Okay, so I will be okay. So I'm able to see that the here now I'm landed into the service provider org. So I will be clicking on the pause SAML. I will be copying this entire uh, and just a minute. Let me copy this. Okay, so I have copied it correctly, and as you see that the closing one is also the SAML response. Now I'm going into my service provider org. I'm pasting this, and from the I will be selecting that the which single sign-on integration SAML response I am going to validate. So I am selecting the the one which I have just created, that is a gmail.com IPO one, and will click on the validate. So the as you see that the result I am getting, the unexpected expectations, sorry, the unexpected, the exceptions, okay, everything is coming in the green, 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 green. Nothing is, the problem as such. Okay, so the this all the is also the one of the way by which you can the test whether your SAML response is correct or not. Third way, the very simple way is the check the login history. You have to the just the click on the setup and type the login history. So as you see here that the I mean this particular user name user, this is the user which the if you may notice, and the after the email ID, I have the .spo, that is for the service provider org, and the login type is SAML IDP initiated SSO. When the so this is the one of the way this instead of the success which browser I have used is this. And the when I'm using the actually I'm using the the I mean the uh, user ID password, then it is it has a different way to show. uh, you can also see the login URL here. That is the I tried to log in when I was inserting the user ID password. I may log in from the login.salesforce.com, whereas when the in the SSO, the login URL was different. Okay, so this is all about the